I'm always looking for ways to pass on my genealogy research to my family. Well, what better time of year to do that, to share the family's heritage, than the holidays? Today we're going to create this gorgeous Christmas wreath. But this is no ordinary wreath. Within its branches are old family photos just waiting to be discovered. This wreath is done in a sepia tone theme, with the ornaments and the luxurious velvet wired ribbon playing up those warm heirloom colors. And shimmery little vintage trinkets are tucked in here and there, completing the heritage look. This is a one-of-a-kind wreath that not only speaks to the joy of Christmas, but also honors your family. The first thing that you'll want to do is to gather up some photographs that you'd like to include in your wreath. I'm going to be working with these sepia tone photographs. These are beautiful old images, and I think they're going to go perfectly with the color scheme. But of course I don't want to use these originals. So what I would suggest is that you take them down to your local copy center, and you could make color copies which will translate the color perfectly. And then just make sure that you size them to fit the small frames that you might be using on your wreath. The other option is that you could scan these into your computer, put them into a photo editing program and resize them again to get them to the right size for your frames, and then just print them out. I like to use a 32-pound high bright paper. It's a 98 paper. It's a good weight, and it also will bring out the best in your photo. And make sure to set your printer setting to the best quality. And if you are using a special paper, go ahead and select that as well in your printer. That way you're going to get the best quality possible. But what if you have a photo that is black and white and you really want to include it in the sepia tone wreath? No problem. Let me show you how you can convert it to sepia in a simple photo editing program. I use Photo Deluxe, but probably your computer comes with some type of a simple photo editing program. Just open up your photo in the program, and in the menu bar, look under Tools and look for Image Adjustments. We're looking for color balance. When using color balance, start by adding some red tone to your photograph. Here's an example of what the black and white photo converted to a red tone would look like. Next, you'll want to add some yellow, and here's yellow added to a black and white photograph. Put the two together and you achieve a really beautiful sepia tone. Just play with the color adjustments until you get the tone that you like. And there you have it, a sepia tone photograph ready to be included in your wreath. Now that we have our 4 photographs all either color copied or scanned on our computer, it's time to assemble the wreath. So come on up to my craft room. Though I miss having my oldest daughter, who's now married, here at home with us, one of the good things that came out of her marriage was that I got my own craft room. Ah, a dream come true. Well, she loves to cross-stitch and scrapbook as well, so we get to share this room a lot when she does come by. But today, you and I are going to be working here, putting together your vintage-looking family history Christmas wreath. So let's get started. Here are the materials that you're going to need. A paddle of floral wire and some wire cutters, a paintbrush to apply craft glue, and a small dish, a good sharp pair of scissors, a pen to do some tracing, and your trusty hot glue gun. A large roll of ornate craft ribbon. This ribbon's about 30 feet long on the spool and 1.5 inches wide, and it's wired so it'll make beautiful bows. You'll also want a collection of small craft picture frames. These are easily available at the craft store, or you can make your own picture frame, which we're going to do in this wreath, with small pieces of balsa wood, and the balsa wood pieces are also available at your craft store in the hobby section. You'll want an assortment of Christmas balls, and I loved these because they had the beautiful sepia tone colors. And some glitter. And again, there are different shades of gold, so make sure that you get the shade that will coordinate with your balls and ornaments. And in this case, I've got a beautiful silk poinsettia. It's lustrous and shimmery, and I think it'll look beautiful on the wreath. And the last thing we're going to need are some pieces of old broken jewelry, old buttons, leftover sewing trim, anything that can add to that vintage feel of our Christmas wreath. While this toolbox isn't particularly glamorous, it definitely does do the job of holding leftover pieces of sewing trim and broken pieces of jewelry I find around the house and buttons and beads. And I particularly like it because it's metal, which means it's magnetic and I can attach my favorite photographs. Ah, the wedding. As I mentioned before, there are lots of terrific little gold craft frames that you could pick up at the store and use this to hold your photographs on your wreath. But for the sepia tone wreath, we're going to do something a little extra special, and I think you're going to enjoy doing it this way. We're going to use this little piece of balsa wood to hold our photograph, and that's going to give us a platform which to decorate to our heart's content. So come on, I'll show you how. Take the balsa wood piece and lay it over your printed image, centering it to get the best view of your subject. And then just take your pen and trace around the edge. Now you have a guide for cutting your photo to just the right size. So with our sharp scissors, we're going to cut the photo out, and we're going to be careful to be going on the inside of that line. And there we have it. It's going to fit right over our wood. Now to apply our photograph to the balsa wood. Put some craft glue in a little container so that you can brush it on. And I really find that brushing the glue on helps to eliminate any kind of bubbles or lumps that can show up underneath the photograph when it's dried. So just apply a nice thin even coat, and extra careful to bring it all the way out to the edges so you won't have any loose edges on your photograph. Apply it there, get the edges lined up, and then just smooth it out with your finger. That's another reason not to put globs of glue on there so it won't come squirting out the edges. Now, as you can see here, we have a little bit of edge coming up, so I'm just going to put an extra dab. Might as well do it now versus having it curl up later. Press that down, and there you go. Now the best thing to do is let this photograph dry for a little bit so that when you work with it, there's just no chance of it peeling up off the board. Once your photographs have dried, it's time to decorate. And that's where the fun begins, right?